Here we are, another episode of the artistry of I am he, first of his name, last of his game. So let's see what's been going on. I've been pumping out a few YouTube videos a day. So I've been consistent. And some days I do 3. I've done 5 in one day. But then I spread them apart like every 4 hours. But even on days that I'm really tired, I at least do 1. But Sunday I took off, but I had a video from my series of videos Saturday that cleared Sunday. So a video has been uploaded every day. I am just extremely tired. But it could just be today. I think this whole week I've been really tired. But the concept of consistency has been ringing in my ear. I'm just trying to keep up that intensity, keep up that consistency. And I was looking for another word that was going to rhyme, but look, it's just not there today. Hopefully, one day it will be. But the idea of balance, I feel like that's what I need to accomplish. I need to accomplish balance. The ability to be able to work on all of these things and have time for things that I like. My drawing, whether it's video games, whether it's music, I have to be able to do all of these things. That's how I feel. I wouldn't say that I have to be able to do all of these things, but I have to be able to do all these things. So we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. I think we'll jump into, I feel like we should jump into the dentist. I don't want, it's not even that I don't want, but I look at just time allocation and it's like, man, I do 2 hours here, which you guys know, I really do like the long format. So if I do 2 hours here plus rendering, I would say it's probably about 2.5. I think it's like a half an hour on the administrative side of the podcast. Once it's done, about a half an hour on the administrative side, and then that's done. So that'll put me around 3:30, 3:45. I want to start now with the videos. I am learning something by doing the videos every day. I'm learning And the purpose is for the growth. Now, it's going to take, I would say 30, but it may take 5 months, right? So instead of 30 days, it may take 5 months of this intensity. And I have to be ready. I have to be able to do that. And that is, that's definitely intense. So I believe I have to change my diet then, because I know guys who are going hard every day. These guys are going hard. I'm talking, they up all day and night from the AM to the PM. They probably take a nap here and there, but they're definitely not sleeping 5 hours a day. These guys are not sleeping 5 hours a day. So when I look at the numbers like that, there's no need for me not to be able to record a video, record a podcast, because the podcast is just once a week. So to record a video, then record an episode, there's no reason that I can't do that. We're talking about 20 hours. And then I'm going to be starting up this side hustle. I'm speaking with the guy who's he's already into this business. So I'm going to be speaking with him Monday. So there's no reason. There's no need. And as I say that, I could just feel the power just flowing through my veins.
Let me introduce you to Bo Miles, a unique and likable guy. Everyday life, friends and family makes up the artist's dream.
Yes, it's time to wake up. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. But it's a little rainy today. I think that may be the reason why I'm feeling a little on the sluggish side of town. But anything worth having is worth the struggle that it is to obtain it. And this is a pep talk telling myself that you can do it. You can do all that needs to be done. Yes, it seems tough, but I really feel the biggest problem is the feedback, right? And remember, we spoke about this maybe 2 episodes ago. So remember, we step back. You got to step back in the process and find a win. So I've been winning in the sense of I'm pushing out this content. I've been consistent every day, but I'm losing in the feedback loop. That's where, or the positive feedback, the positive reinforcement. That's what it's called, positive reinforcement. That's where I'm losing in the sense because when I look at the metrics of what I'm doing, I'm getting positive feedback. I am. So, but I want I want my subscriber count to grow up, to grow even higher. Like I'm trying to dictate what I get. And I have to remember with that nursery rhyme that you can't dictate. It's not even that you can't, but you can't control the weather. When we talk about the itsy bitsy spider, the spider does not control when it rains or when the sun comes out. He has to keep going regardless. And I think that's really what I'm facing now. I'm facing the rain. So, all right, I'm consistent. I'm pumping out a video every day at least, right? I've been doing more than one, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that part has been successful. But I gained a subscriber. I lost a subscriber. Right now, I'm at 111 subscribers. I used to have 112. Then I lost one. Then I gained one. Then I lost one. And this is all stuff that I know. I know that this is going to happen because this is the nappy phase in the dreads, right? When you're about to get dreadlocks, you go through a period, you go through a phase where your hair doesn't look good. It looks a mess. And then you twist it up. You get to that twisting phase. And you just have to wait until it locks up. And then it goes through that, like, here it is, it's fire now. So I already know this. This isn't a surprise. But it goes back to the saying that I came up with, that I coined. That theory sounds good, but experience feels bad. So we could speak about the itsy bitsy spider. We could speak about all of these concepts, but to actually go through it is something different. And then it just brings we have to speak on Jesus. We have to bring Jesus to this episode. Jesus walks with me. I'm talking Jesus. Right? It's one thing that Jesus knows what his fate is, what his purpose. He knows his purpose. We can guess, but we don't know, right? But we can guess that he knew his purpose his whole life. He knew his purpose his whole life. But yet, right during the time, that week, I'm guessing, the week of, or the beginning, that day, the night before, it was the night before Christmas. So the night before his purpose, the biggest purpose, the night before he goes and he has an argument with God. Well, I wouldn't say an argument. But he has a conversation with God where he's trying to back out of his purpose, of his plan, and the stress and the fear, just everything is now catching up with him. Because he realizes what that experience is going to be. He knows now at this point what that's going to feel like. And it says that I believe that he was sweating blood, right? Just the intensity of this moment is to convey the anxiety. Because we all know the type of beating. If you're queued up, like some of you guys, you may know if you're in a gang and it's that time. Now they call it DP'd, but back in the day, they didn't have a name for it. It was, look, you about to get it. Hang in there. In that moment, just the stress and it's like, So the theory of your purpose, it sounds good until you're at the door of your purpose. And that anxiety and those humanly, the human process takes over. Like in Game of Thrones. There was a king. I want to say, what was his name? No, he wasn't even a king. He was like a Targaryen. And he was the Targaryen's son. So whoever the Mad King's son. So he's the Mad King's son. And I want to say that it begins with a T, but I'm not sure. I haven't jumped in there long enough. But one of the things that how they described, and he's Daenerys' brother. So for those of you who watch and read Game of Thrones, you already know who I'm talking about. I just can't think of his name at the moment. But they always, when they spoke of him, they always spoke of him as being this happy, charismatic, like a people person, but he always had this sadness to him. He always had this this sadness, and we know his fate in the show. We never see him alive, so we know his fate. So it's implied when they keep talking about this in the show, it's implied that he knew somehow, he was privy to his fate and knew that it was nothing that he could do, that this is his fate. And his fate was, are you going to have this short burst of fame, or you're going to be liked and well loved and everything, but eventually your kingdom and another kingdom is going to get into a battle, and you're going to die at this moment. So you can imagine just him having that burden all his life. It's gonna be a bit of a sadness there. And especially as he gets closer and closer to that moment. And I believe he had one of the best swordsmen was with him. Like one of the greatest swordsmen of his time. And I think it's this type of storytelling. This is what makes Game of Thrones so good. Like, that's a hint of really what makes it good. You have all of these little small characters who don't even really make a debut in the show. It's all just memory. It's all just how people remember a person. And it made me think of, if we take Tupac and Biggie, everything that happens the same, right? But the only thing is, there is no internet, and there. So if we just take away the internet, now we're in that realm of secrecy now. Without the internet, the internet definitely has and is destroying secrecy. Before the internet, that's the age. I mean, that was the world that we was in. It was just smoke and mirrors, and that extended to everything. Everything was smoke and mirrors. Everything, whether it was karate, whether it's reading, it didn't matter what it was. It was all smoke and mirrors. It was all secrecy. No one was telling you how they achieved what they achieved. No one was telling you this. Because it's top down. Meaning everyone, and this is still this way today, but the secrecy level, you can find out. But it's still top down. It's the reason why it's so secret. Why it's so secretive is because at the very top, they keep secrets, so it just trickles down. So everyone is, it's just secretive. But if we look at the Biggie and Tupac without the internet, so that means the music videos, the songs are now held by a small few. Without the internet, the music business looks totally different today without the internet. It looks totally different. Music videos are totally different. Everything is totally different without the internet. So if we take Biggie and Tupac and we say all of that happened, but the only thing in this alternate reality is that there is no internet, then those two could be pushed up as huge martyrs to where this is the only thing that you know or even see in the internet, in the hip hop culture. Or if we take away, let's take away recorded, let's take away the radio, or let's take away TV, right? So one more step back. So there's no internet, there's no TV, but there's still Tupac and Biggie. But now it's radio. By this time, you're going to have millions of people who know what they look like, but millions of people who don't know what they look like without television. All right, you still have the radio. And if they came to your town, you had a poster, but now look at that. Now posters are even more valuable without TV. So we don't have internet, we don't have TV. Posters are very important to even say this is what they look like. Everyone knows the music, everyone knows even the story that what happened, the what happened to them story is like the telephone game. So you have so many different stories going around. The story, it changed so much if you don't have TV and you don't have internet. What they look like will change so much in this alternate universe. And then when you go back and we eliminate radio, so now you don't have the internet, you don't have TV, and you don't have the radio. But you still have Biggie and Tupac as musicians, as rappers who made it big. I mean, they're still millionaires, right? But without the internet, without TV, and without radio, now you have the live show. You have them just touring around the country. We might not even know when they would have died. Without the radio, and we're just talking about information and how information is moving and how information is getting disseminated to the people. In these certain mediums, this distribution hub and network that's created to get this information to the people, it's also chipping away at the secrecy. If we look at fast forward, and now we're back into our own reality. If we look at the war over in Ukraine and Russia, this war is very different in this age. This age of enlightenment. This age of uncoveredness. Nothing, the secrets are, it's hard for these secrets. If we went back to the 50s and this happened where Russia invaded Ukraine, we wouldn't have TV access. If we go to the 40s, TV didn't even exist. So there is no TV, which let's just say the early 40s, just so that we can just have a good starting place. There is no TV. So this is being broadcast. Who even knows if this would even be broadcast in the 40s? Russia just invaded Ukraine. They're shooting civilians. They're bombing different things. That is even controlled. That has a narrative in the 40s. Then we bring it to the 50s. Still, it's being spoken, but it's still being controlled. It still has a narrative. So who even knows when or if? We wouldn't even have any footage Because right now, the reason why we have footage is because the people of Ukraine, the citizens of Ukraine, they have phones, so they're able to broadcast it. That's the only reason why we even have footage. So in the 50s, we wouldn't have footage because people didn't have cameras to be able to record and broadcast this to the world. So we would just be hearing about it all the way up until the internet. Only today, right? And we can go back. I mean, we can say once cell phones, whatever year that video and cell phones, YouTube, I would say when it was easy to where everyone could upload, whatever point that is. So it wouldn't be at the creation of YouTube, Justin TV. No, I believe that's Twitch, Justin TV. I forgot what YouTube was before it was YouTube. I can't think of it. I can't think of the name of it, but it was something else before it was YouTube, right? These ideas. But this moment that we're in now, this true enlightenment, this is mass enlightenment. Massive. This is for the masses right here. To where we can actually see what is going on with no narrative. This is a special time. A very special time. We can see with no narrative the Ukrainian government, the Russian government, the U.S. government. No government is controlling the video that is coming out of Ukraine. No government is controlling this. This is just Igor, Natasha. They're just filming this footage. They're afraid. They're upload. Look, I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. I want you guys to know what happened. Why? Because governments lie. The narrative is no longer in the quote unquote ruler's hands. Because of course they want the narrative in their hands. And we take it for granted, but that idea, and this came to me when I was thinking about Tupac and Biggie. What if, because there was, you remember, I mean, Beethoven, during his day, I mean, it's the same stuff. Life is pretty much the same. Here, let me pause. Yes, I had to take that call. So I believe we were talking about, this all goes back to the itsy bitsy spider, right? And how the rain and the sun is not in his control, and the experience of it, right? To say, okay, I don't control the rain, I don't control the sun, that's one thing, but to actually be caught in a storm and you're a spider, think of the size of a spider and rain, how much water is coming down. That's life-threatening. That's catastrophic. And to say that we're going to weather this storm and we're going to get back out there, because remember, we don't know when it's going to storm again. And to be caught out in the storm is catastrophic. You could die. Everybody you know could just be wiped out. All the spiders you know could be wiped out. So to actually experience it and to say it, that's two different things, right? And then so that's the theme of what we're talking about. And we go into the examples with the Game of Thrones, and then we go into the Biggie and the Tupac examples. When we take away the internet and we take away these mediums that we've created that actually help to diffuse secrecy, because there's so much secrecy. That's really what we're saying. That's really what we're facing. So if we take it all the way back, because I like where we were in our conversation, but if we take it all the way back to the videos, right? We bring it all the way back to uploading the videos. It's still this thing of secrecy. That's really what I'm combating when I say I'm going to upload a video a day. I'm really combating secrecy, because that's just what people do. It's a dragon. And you have millions of people trying to get to the top. And when you have millions of people trying to get to the top, and you have this system that's governing these millions, then it's people who are at the top, they want to cut off that ladder. They want to cut that off as soon as they can. So you have someone who's at the top, they're getting $10,000 a week. You have some people who are getting $100,000 a week. You have some people who are getting $1 million a week from YouTube. If you just think about that, and you think that they want 10 other people, they want 100, they want 1,000, they want 10,000 other people right next to them or past them. No, they don't. So what you get is an ecosystem around secrecy. What exactly did you do or not do to gain these subscribers, these followers? And they tell you, they'll sit and they'll tell you, oh, you just have to do this and you just have to do that. No, that's not it. That's to keep you chasing your tail. That's to keep you chasing your tail. Because we're really, when we speak about it, we're talking about human nature. What the essence of human nature. What's going on, and when I brought up the Ukraine incident, and to say how the internet gave us, like, war is different now. You can't do war like it was the 50s. You can't do that. And this is what Russia and the world is learning this as well. The world is learning from this as well. Now, there's talks, or we can say conspiracies, going around saying that Putin has cancer, and Putin has cancer, and this is on his bucket list. That's why he's doing this invasion. That's why he's really trying to take over. He wants this as a part of his legacy. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. But what I do know is that people are not ready for this, how life is right now. If you look at how he came into power, it is very questionable. Now just imagine if the internet and the way that the way that information is moving about. Just imagine if that was like that when he came into power. It would be different. We have the Taliban, and what's the other one? ISIS. All right, you have these beheadings. You have these kidnappings. All of these different governments that are trying to, like the cartel, that stuff is a government. All of these different brutal, right? That's really what we can say. Are these brutal factions. All of these brutal factions throughout the world. They're doing things the way that it was done. So before the internet, before radio, and this is my point with the whole Tupac and Biggie. Before the internet, before radio, before TV, certain things would be done, and this is the way that it was done. This is the way it was done. ISIS, this is the way that it was done. Go around and install fear into the people, kill the leaders, and then use that fear to maintain and to stop insurrection. Use that fear to control the people. That's the way it was done. That's the way their fathers did it. That's the way their grandfathers and his father and his father. And his father begot his, and then they begot. Like, that's the way it was done. Because of secrecy, because of not being it, because of the darkness, the dark ages. And it's crazy, but we are just now coming out of the dark ages. Because enlightenment is for everybody. It's for everybody. You can have the darkness, but enlightenment, that's for everybody. Enlightenment is for everybody. We talk about the age of enlightenment. It wasn't the age of enlightenment. It was the age that the wealthy and that the rich and that the powerful became enlightened. But true enlightenment, the true age of enlightenment started a few years ago. Whatever year that people could post videos and upload it themselves without any restriction, and to say that, look, this is what's happening to me, whatever year that was. See, I'm not sure if it's when Facebook Live or Instagram Live. I'm not sure, because it's not just uploading videos to YouTube. It's not just that, because people can still select, like the TV broadcasting, they still select which videos to grab. They're still in charge of a narrative, but But you have so many different outlets now that if one media wants to push one narrative, there's going to be 10 others that's going to push a different. And when you look at all 10 of them, you can see the truth. What is the truth? So now that you have multiple people, now anyone can upload a video, anyone can grab and share. Like that's the true, this is the true age of enlightenment. It's not just rich and wealthy have money to conduct experiments. They're no longer subjugated to religion. They're no longer suppressed by religion, by Christianity or by Islam. They can now go and look and hunt for the truth without priests telling them that you're disobeying God. Stop doing that. We don't want to know that. Look, you're messing up my control right now. All of these people are coming to me to speak to God. We get the book. That shatters a level, right? But look, we was able to grab it because it almost got out of control. We was able to grab it. Hey, you guys can, because remember, even we go far enough back, even when the age of Martin Luther, it was in a different language. So not everyone could read it. So we keep moving forward in time. Now we get to where whatever book you subscribe to, you can read it if you can read. If you can't read, even today, in today's time, if you cannot read, someone will read the Bible to you. You can just download an app. Everyone, for the most part, I can't say everyone in the world, but in the United States, in third world countries, people do have access to cell phones more readily than they did 20 years ago. And as we move forward, more and 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 more people have access. So that's why I say that we are in the enlightened phase. This is the age of enlightenment. So when we jump to the war, which this episode is not about, like, I'm not here to speak on the politics of war. Putin, not Putin. I'm thinking of Rasputin, which I was watching The Kingsman, whatever the third one is called. I can't think of whatever the name of it, but they're giving you facts throughout that movie, but it's embellished with movie highlights, and it's really good. But Rasputin, the character, just how they made him in that movie, like when the trilogy goes on sale, I'm gonna buy the trilogy just to watch that performance. It was a kick-ass performance. I just got to give it up to him, right? But that's why I'm like Putin. But Putin, I don't know what he's doing and why he's doing it. I don't know. And so that's not the point of this. This is just to say that war is going to be done different. It's going to be done differently because of this true age of enlightenment. This is a remarkable time that we're actually seeing this. This is the first time. This is like that bully. It's like that bully, and I'm not even calling Putin a bully. But it's like that bully who has been bullying, let's say 2 or 3 kids in secrecy, just look, I'm over here. We're in class and there's a bully and he's bullying the kids, but he can't bully when the parents or when the teacher and the staff is around. He can't just go around smacking kids and doing whatever he wants. That just doesn't happen. It's always when it's just the bully and his subjugates, or I can just say subjects, right? We can just say subjects. That's when he bullies. When the adults are not around, that's when he bullies. So when we jump into what's going on right now, far as the war, right, it's just to highlight that 100 years ago or 70 years ago, you would have had that same thing. Someone goes in, they invade a land. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Someone will go in, they will try to take something, and the world doesn't know. The adults, right? The adults they don't know. But now we're actually seeing this. People invade. Oh no, it's not gonna be a secret. It's not gonna be a secret. We're gonna have video. This is gonna be shown to the world. And that the video doesn't cast a narrative. The video doesn't cast a narrative. The video is just raw footage. This is what is happening. Mute the commentary and watch and see what is going on. I just see a bunch of soldiers, miles and miles long caravan coming into this country, and people are running for fear of losing their life. I see millions of people who don't want to fight, who don't want conflict. This is what I'm seeing. And I see that you are coming in and you're trying to hurt people who they don't want anything to do with this, right? Like, this is the age that we're in. And this is going to change. This is going to change the way that things are done. The internet is the destroyer of secrecy, of this level of secrecy. Because remember, there's still secrecy. It still seeps and finds its way in. It's kind of like the ending of The Devil's Advocate. So, in that movie, spoiler alert for those of you who never seen it and would like to see it, it was like, 20 years ago maybe. Could have been even more than 20 years ago. But in that movie, the devil is trying to trick and tempt this lawyer. And I believe that the lawyer is the devil's son. And this brings about the apocalypse. So, if he can corrupt this person, Keanu Reeves' character, and I'm not, like I said, I believe that it is the devil's son, but at the same time, it could be somebody else. So the devil is trying to corrupt a person. And he goes about it with, let's say it's greed. He's trying to play on a person's greed, right? He's trying to play on Keanu's greed. He tries to play on Keanu's, and I believe that whatever way that he goes about trying to corrupt him, it fails. So Keanu doesn't fall for it. Boom, you feel like, all right, he's won, right? Keanu has won. Al Pacino, I think, is playing Satan in this movie, the devil. Keanu wins. You feel like, okay, we have this happy ending. And then, so I believe the first time that we witnessed the devil coming at Keanu. I mean, can't remember the character's name, but the first time we witnessed it, I believe that it's through a law firm. So Keanu Reeves plays a lawyer. The devil comes as a law firm. I'm going to hire you. You're going to make partner. You're going to go up the ranks. You're going to become this great lawyer. There's going to be this trial of the century. When that doesn't work, then the devil comes because Keanu says, "No, I'm not going to take on this case. My client is guilty. He confessed to me that he's guilty. He is guilty. I'm not going to get this client off. He's wrong. He deserves to be prosecuted." This is pretty much what Keanu says. That stops the devil's plan. So then, at the end, instead of the devil coming at him as a law firm, he then comes at him from the standpoint of the press. He comes at him from he's a paparazzi, right? He's a part of press. So he's speaking to another form of man. So whether it's greed, whether it's lust, whether it's when you want to be famous, right? So that's how this system is set up. So the internet is destroying one facet of secrecy, but it's actually because of man, because of who we are. It has its own secrecy in it, right? It has a level of secrecy deep within it. And it's only when you want to control something do you come up against it. So if you're young, and that's just like the system that we're in now. It's only until you want to control can you really see it. That's when you can see it. That's when you come up against opposition. So this, like the war, ISIS, right? Remember I spoke on them earlier. The Taliban, the cartels, even China. Because everything that I named is not bad. I'm not saying that is bad. I'm not saying that China is bad. China operates in secrecy. The cartels Taliban, those quote unquote terrorist groups, all of these things, it operates in secrecy. The internet is enlightenment. The internet is to show it all. A camera has no agenda. The person behind the camera may have an agenda, but the camera does not have an agenda. The camera just shows what is happening. Minus agenda. There is no agenda. You see a man and a woman, they're together. The man is kissing the woman. They have some type of bodily exchange. The man and the woman have sex. That is what happened. Later on, we find out that the man was stalking the woman. The man finally attacked this woman. The man raped this woman. Same story, but now we have context to the story. We have context to what we actually watched. Now, depending on the cues, right? If we see her looking upset, looking distraught, looking like she needs some help, right? We can gain, all right, this is what's happening. Right? We can see the cues. We can see these social cues. But let's say before they even come into view of this camera, he already threatens her family. He already says that, once we walk in front of this camera, look, this is how it's going to go. So now same story, without context of what's happening, we just see what is happening. The camera is not going to tell us anything. It's just going to show us reality. The people on there will tell us. The lady will tell us, this is what happened before we got on camera. Then we can say, boom, and then he'll say, oh no, it's not. She's crazy. She's lying. Now we have litigation. Now we can have a trial to get to the truth. But we already see the truth is this action. So the crazy thing happened is I was talking and I'm not sure if I went to look down or what. I'm not really sure, but at some point I looked at the screen and it was like, what did it say? It said that that your card was full. So it actually stopped recording. And I had to go and delete. Well, I moved all of the stuff over, right? So I just transferred all of the files over. So I did that. So I had to turn on my computer, move the files over in a folder, right? Move all of the files and then delete 100. So I had 100 episodes on that card. And I think I'm up to what? I think we're on like 113, 114. So around 115. So the other 15 episodes, I'm guessing that they're on another card, or maybe I had where me and Fid was recording, and I believe some of those files some of the episodes were when we did over the phone. So we did a few episodes with Thunder, a Canadian rapper. We did a few episodes with him. I did the episode with Louis. That was an over the phone episode. Then we have our video, a couple video episodes. So I think that's how it lays. So yeah, it was just crazy. I guess I didn't pay attention to how many episodes I could hold. So, I mean, this is saying I have 45 hours of record time. So, I'm guessing, I mean, I can do what? Maybe probably another hour, right? Another 100 episodes. Which, judging by this diagram, I mean, this is just saying that I don't have that many, that I have 45 episodes, which would be 24 if I'm doing about 2 hours. So I'm sure at some point there's some type of disconnect. Maybe that's all that it can say. Because I remember I had one card that it just stayed on 99. And I guess it just stayed on 99 until you dipped below a certain thing, and then it started to count. So it could be something like that. I'm gonna look at the folder again after I'm done with this. But the crazy, I mean, I had some really look, your boy had some really good points, man. I want to say that I lost another hour. That is crazy. I would say about 30 to 45 minutes of material is lost into the ether. But it's a learning experience. So I know I would say I'll just gear up every couple months. I'm going to look down, or before I record, look down and see how much space am I working with. Now, I use I think this is like a 32 gig card. I could just get me a bigger card. That way I don't have to worry about the card, right? I wouldn't have to worry. I just get me a 100, 200 gig card. Because those memory cards are pretty inexpensive. But we were talking about the regime, I used the rapist, or the act, right? I was just talking about how the camera just shows us what is happening, what happened. And that is a good thing. That is my point. I really don't want to go into all of that again. I mean, it's just, man, I had some, look, guys, your boy was, I was in the zone. Oh, man. But we can't get mad at learning opportunities. Anytime there's a chance to learn something, we have to be grateful. We have to be grateful for that. I don't know if I don't even know if I even said it, if those points are even made. I mean, geez, but I was saying how we're in the true age of enlightenment. And it's hard. Like even some places, they try to restrict the internet. They do bans where you can't even get out and see what's happening in the world. Like, just, that is crazy. But it goes to the point that power doesn't give up power. Power doesn't just hand it over. It has to be taken. And that's ultimately what a lot of these places are afraid of, that if people get a chance to see what is really going on, how people are really living, then their power would be in jeopardy. Their power would be in jeopardy. So this is an amazing time. And the crazy thing is, like, I don't know. I know because I looked at the file and saw that, okay, I have an hour, right? So I've been recording for an hour before the great power outage. The great power outage of episode 116. I don't even know what episode we're on. But the great power outage. I remember we used to have power outages back when I was a kid. And, you know, it was a scary time because it was just dark. I mean, it was pitch black. And I remember later on in my adult years in West Virginia, we had a power outage. You go outside and the moon is bright. You could see, even though all the lights are off, you could just see the moon just shining bright. But in Baltimore, I mean, it was pitch black. I don't know. The moon just wasn't hitting. It just wasn't hitting the same. That's crazy. Because I'm sure it had to have been days or nights where the moon was huge. I just never noticed. I just don't remember it in my memory. But especially during those blackouts, we called them blackouts. But my point for that is it's crazy because I don't know what I said in that hour versus what I said after that hour. So it seems like, I don't want to be beating a dead horse. So we're gonna have to move on. But what I will say is that this is a great time. This is a great time to be alive, to actually witness. Because things are going to change. Things are changing. It's going to be very interesting to see how this war plays out. The situation over in Ukraine. Even if Putin, even if he gets what he wants, right? Even if it goes in his favor, it's still going to be interesting how this plays out. Because this is going to dictate, and I believe that it is just going to progress, how war is done. When you have people just watching, you have the world watching. Now you have people in Russia on the news with they have their papers and their cardboards protesting against the war. People in Russia, they're saying, we don't want this. We don't want to hurt the people in Ukraine. That would have never happened 20 years ago. That would have never happened 20 years ago. That would have never happened 40 years ago. 40 years ago, that would have never happened. The people still would have been against the war. You have in Germany during the Holocaust, people were against that. You had some German citizens who were against it. They did not agree with Hitler. They didn't agree with him. They didn't agree with what he was doing and his ideology. They didn't agree with it. But they didn't control, they didn't have any voice to get out to the world to say that what he's doing is wrong and we do not agree with this. That we cry for all of the victims of this Holocaust. They didn't have that voice. So what happens? They go down. Germans are Nazis. That's what happens. But look at today. You have Russian citizens. You have citizens in China. You have citizens in Japan. I definitely want to speak on Japan because I was introduced to something that I wasn't aware of. Now, I've been getting small informational drops about Japan recently. One of my good friends he's been sending me, because I guess he's been enlightened to the actions of Japan. So he's been sending and updating everyone on this. And I wasn't aware that, now I knew that the youth suicide rate was abnormally high. Okay. And then I found out that the senior citizen suicide rate over in Japan is high as well. And that's sad. When you really think about it, a person, for them to commit suicide, now different cultures have different beliefs. They have different belief systems. So I'm not challenging any belief system. I'm saying you take away all beliefs and you say, okay, you are alive and you should want to be alive. Whatever reason that is causing you to not want to be alive anymore, that's not a good reason. That's no bueno. All right. Your boy, I got some Spanish speaking coworkers that I talk to every day. Yeah, and I just get a little bit of Spanish, and that makes me happy. That just makes me happy because I feel like that's my people. Like that's my people, right? Who are my people? Just humans. I love all humans. Right? Just all of them. I just see the beauty in all people. I see the beauty in all language. I wish I could speak every language. Every language in the world, I wish I could speak it. Of course, your boy is going to get that cheddar with that ability, but not only the cheddar cheese, because your boy is going to get a lot of cheddar cheese. If I could speak every language in the world, you know how rich. So I don't want y'all to get it twisted now. I still love money. Money. Hey boys, I'm here to make a lot of money. But the stories and just to interact with people, I love that as well. I love that just as much. If I could do away with a bunch of things, I would definitely do away with money before I did away with interaction with people, right? So that's more important. So it just makes me, definitely makes me happy to get a chance to learn different cultures and just different people. But to want to be gone, like that's just to not want to live anymore. That's not good. That's not an existence. So whenever you feel like that, whenever a person feels like that, like that's bad. And I felt like that. Remember, I spoke about it. I even went into a hospital. I even checked in. Remember, I told you guys. Like I checked in. So I know that feeling. So to hear that old people, right? We're talking about retirement, after they retire, that they feel like their life is no longer of value and that their life is a burden. As a government, as a people, like that's not good. That's just not. That's not. I'm not saying you need to believe what I believe, but we need to value human life. And I believe that things are going to change as the internet becomes stronger and stronger. Because the internet is truly a one government governing system. The internet does not care about borders. It doesn't care about treaties. It doesn't. Especially that the camera, that sight is there. We have now where you can speak. This is going to get better, but you can speak into programs and then it translates whatever you're saying into whatever language you want. We have earbuds. Eventually we're going to have smart earbuds that you're going to have in your ear. Someone will speak whatever they say in whatever language, and it will translate in your ear what they just said in real time. Eventually, there's going to be, before that happens, there's going to be some type of latency, but it's already here. It's already here, and that is to break down this barrier, all of these secrecy barriers. Because that's all these different languages, that's all that is just secrecy. I'm speaking to someone in code so that others don't understand what I'm saying. And you're going to still have that, even when when these apps and things become so advanced that someone can speak German and in real time it's translating and I can hear it in my ear. I can hear it in my ear. Like that is going to happen. And that's breaking down these barriers. So that it's no longer secrecy. No, this is not going to change human behavior. Because those who are in power, they don't want to just give up that power. They don't want to relinquish power. They don't. So that's not going to stop. And the people who are running and the people who are becoming wealthy, because the wealthy you are, the more powerful you are. And this isn't to say the richer you are, the more important. That's not the same. Once you have wealth, when you have money, you can make and cause certain things to happen and not happen. With money, wealth, and fame. Like you can. That's undeniable. So we're still going to have people who are going to be famous, right? We're still going to have a 1% even in this. Okay, everyone is able to move. I mean, just imagine you're able to go to anywhere in the world and you don't have to worry about being kidnapped and being held for ransom or being murdered and being robbed. You can go wherever you want. Now, okay, can you go into the bad neighborhoods? No, and you shouldn't. But places that are deemed for everybody should be safe. And that will just extend out. And what does that world even look like? So you take a city, right? That's how we're going to shrink the world to a city. And you have your city downtown business hours, downtown time, the business time is a safe time. Even though you have all of these people with all, like, you're rich and wealthy people they're out, they're making moves. And we're talking about bankers, not famous people, just regular top earners. They're up and about, they're out, they're not being robbed, people are not robbing them, people are not kidnapping them and holding them for ransom. You can go downtown during business lunch hour, just walk around. You're just going to see people walk. You're not going to see somebody just being murdered out in the street during lunch. In your business district, that's not going to happen. But as you move away from that, then it gets a little more laxed. Now, if you kept those same systems in place as you moved out, so if you just stayed along these quote unquote nice neighborhoods, you go to a nice neighborhood. Well, I mean, the guy who was murdered just running, he was in a so-called nice neighborhood and he got gunned down by the citizens of that neighborhood. But I would argue it was we don't know who this person is. Like, even if it's, so people are going to say, okay, it's a race issue. All right, I'm not discrediting that. But even if they knew who he was, he's black, he's red, green, purple. If you know who he is, you know he don't live in the neighborhood, you know that he runs through, then that argument of, well, we didn't know, that argument doesn't stick. Like, that argument doesn't stick. So you can go, now that we've shrunk the world down to a city and we go out into these neighborhoods, if people know, okay, he isn't here to rob and kill. You've been listening to whatever news that's been telling you that, yes, they're coming in and they're they're breaking and entering. They're trying to kill out people. It's us versus them. Like, you take all of that away, and I believe that you would have peace, but you still would have people who run and control. That's not going anywhere. And once you have people who run and control, you're going to have people who are oppressed by this control. And they're going to want to, look, I want to control. So if we look at the YouTube, right, this is where all this really stemmed from. If we look at the YouTube system, the YouTube ecosystem, you have people who are trying to get to the top. Every day, there's people trying to get to the top. Then you have people who are running the show. These are people that we're not seeing these people. You don't know who these people are. So I think last year, YouTube reported that they paid out $30 billion to YouTubers. They paid out $30 billion to YouTubers. So YouTube as a company, if they paid out $30 billion, YouTube as a company, I would say probably made maybe 70. They probably made like 60 to 70 billion. If they paid, and I'm talking about the difference. So if they paid 30, then that means that they made 90 to 100 billion. So if they paid out 30 billion, that means they generated 60 to, that means they made 90 to 100 billion. If they paid out 30 billion. So then they took home as a company, right? 60 to 70 billion. 60 to 70 billion. These are people that no one knows, right? You take whoever the highest grossing YouTuber, people know who this person is. This person has a face. This person has to get up and make videos. But there's people behind the curtain who didn't do any of this, who they're making just as much as this person. They didn't upload one video. If they do have a YouTube account, they probably they're just like me. They have a bunch of videos and a small amount of views. And they're making just as much as the number one earner on YouTube. People are going after that position. People want that. Who wouldn't? I would rather be anonymous and wealthy. I would pick that every time. That's something that I do not need. I do not need fame. I like the intimacy of this podcast. With all of my efforts right now, I think I'm averaging with my regular videos, right? Meaning the ones that don't hit. The ones that hit, like my number one video right now currently is my Cain Velasquez video. That's my number one. It's Cain Velasquez. Then my number two, I want to say, is the YouTubers getting 7 years. I think that's a Breakfast Club reaction video. So these are all reaction videos. Before my reaction videos, I had I have small numbers now, but they were even smaller, right? From the new implementation of this new strategy, okay, it's picking up, but it's still small time. It's by no shape of the imagination. It's still small time. But I'm having, this is how I do my calculations. My lowest performing video, that number, which is going to be 0 views. And then I look at the consistent view number. So I'm consistently getting 6 views. Then my highest would be around 300 or 500 views, which is the Cain Velasquez video, right? Now that is because of, it's a trending topic. It was a trending topic. So I got a lot of views, right? Now that wasn't even, people were getting 60,000, 300,000 views for the same story, right? But this is a big, for me, 3. I'm getting 300, 400. So this is big for my channel, right? But this isn't big at all compared to my regular 6 views. So that's where I get my number, 6. So here I'm trying to grow, but look, I'm good with being obscured, right? But I want to grow the podcast. Even though, like I said earlier, and I started by saying, is that I like the intimacy of the podcast. I like it getting small views. But see, there, I can't tell what is real or not. Like, I don't have any, I'm not juicing my numbers, right? It doesn't mean anything to me. I'm not juicing my numbers. So I get about 100 downloads a week. That's what it's been since I've been doing these. I think I started doing them back. I picked it back up in January. So that's when it started being consistent. I believe maybe a little bit of time. At some point, it dropped down, but then it went back up to 100. Right now, my iTunes downloads, I'm going to have to look, right? I'm going to have to really see, okay. But I know that the bulk of my downloads come from RSS feed, like the RSS feed. So that's just people who have them on their computers. And if you go to a website that's not, I'm guessing, see, I'm not really sure how. I might have to look it up so that I know, okay. But it tells me the region, like I can see, all right, I have this many downloads from California. I have this many downloads from the East Coast, New York, New Jersey, North Carolina, Florida, right? Like I can see how many downloads then Ukraine, right? I've had downloads in Ukraine before. France, China, which I believe that maybe they do like I know that they have a certain period of time where you can just consume content from the world. And it's not restricted, because normally it's restricted, and you can't just get any type of culture and content from around the world. They have it locked down, but they give you a certain amount of time where our content can be available over there. So because I guess, I made it on the list. Your boy made it on the list. My China numbers are up there. they're up. So, I don't know how, I don't know why, but look, thank you. Maybe they're just studying English, which is that's what I would do. I have a podcast in Spanish that I listen to, and I don't, I can understand one word here and there. I mean, it's really different when people are speaking as if they're speaking to you natively. So, I can't say slow it down. What is it? Más despacio, por favor. Right? I can't. There's no slowing down. So it's just boom. That thing is rapid, right? So that's a good. I mean, that's a good idea. So that it could be that. I'm not really sure, but I'm trying to grow. So I have to understand. All right, what is working? Like even with the YouTube, right? Even with the YouTube, understanding what is working. So I think we're at 37. So yeah, we can speak on a little bit more. What is working? So that Cain Velasquez video worked, and it worked for me as well because that's something that I'm into. Right? That's something that I'm into, as opposed to, let's say, I can start doing videos on like Kylie Jenner or something that that's popular, but I'm not into. I really don't know anything about it. That's not going to work for me. Yeah, it'll beef up my numbers, but it's not going to work for me. And when people who are just stumbling by, when they just stumble by and they click on it, they like, they maybe they watch for a little bit and they're like, man, let me just go somewhere else. Right. As opposed to with the Cain, I feel like when they watch it, oh yeah, this guy knows. This guy likes this type of information. This is what this guy does. He looks like he maybe studies in some of the art of war. Aries, right? He's the son of Aries. Ooh, that's gonna be my when I do my intro, son of Aries. yeah, that'll be fresh, right? So yeah, I definitely have to be aware of what works so that I can fine tune and become better and better and crawl from the very bottom. Like I said, I'm really averaging 6 views. I have 6 viewers on YouTube, and I need to know, okay, how many viewers do I have? How many listeners do I have on the podcast? As far as who's downloading, right? As far as my downloads, how many listeners do I have that's actually listening? Now, on, like I said, YouTube, I have 6. And that's good. That's good. I have 6 because I remember I didn't have any, and my engagement is starting to go up as well. And I'm commenting back, and this is real. This is real. Like I really like the interaction that I'm getting. So the engagement is good. So we're growing. And I even, I kicked off this whole thing. This is all about, when we go back to the very beginning of this episode, the point was that I was tired. But then I had to question, was I really tired, or was I just down because I wasn't seeing the results? And that goes back to a couple episodes before when I spoke. And remember, we said this already. This is all full circle. This is full circle. See? This goes back to when I said about going back and finding those wins, right? Because if I'm doing these sit-ups, I'm doing these crunches, I'm starving myself, and I'm not seeing the results, that's going to make you want, or me, we're talking about me, it's going to make me want to stop because I'm not seeing the results. I'm not seeing the growth. I'm I'm not seeing my abs and my back and my shoulders and my chest. I'm not seeing any of that, but I'm still feeling this pain of cutting back. But I'm not seeing any growth yet. That's going to make me stop. So we go back and find a point where we can, all right, I'm not worried about what it looks like. I just want to just keep doing 100 push-ups a day. I just want to cut my calories. I just want to do my 100 sit-ups or however many, whatever number, right? So as long as I hit those numbers, then that's a win. That's something that I can control. I can't control when I'm going to look the way I want to look, but I can control the repetition. I can control the number. Whatever that number I set for myself, I do have control over that number. And then we get to the whole Targaryen and the Jesus thing where, okay, saying something and experiencing it is two different things, right? Theory sounds good, but experience feels horrible. So I can say, all right, we're just going to do this. I'm just going to do these videos. I'm just going to put up one video a day. But it's just like, look, you doing all of this work, but you're not. Look, did you see your chest? Caw-caw! Birdman, bird chest. So that's the full circleness. And it's to say that you got to keep going even that. Because even you guys, you're going to embark on whatever journeys that you go through. You're going to be going on a journey. And it's going to get hard. It's going to get tough. And in that moment, you just have to look at the win. So if the win is just something small, look, just keep taking 2 steps. Did you take your 2 steps? Yeah, I took my 2 steps. All right. But I'm not feeling anything. I'm not doing it. Yeah, I know. Just keep doing your 2 steps. Did you do your video? Yeah, I did my video. Man, I only have 6 views. I only have 6 viewers. All right, just keep giving those 6 viewers some content to where they know that, look, he's still trying. Because eventually those 6 viewers are going to go away. Right? A person who consumes your content, like they're going to be consuming other people. Like eventually they're going to get tired of hearing you, tired of hearing your voice, tired of hearing your philosophies. They're going to get tired, right? I get tired of hearing myself. That's why I don't talk to myself all day, right? Because even I get tired. Even I would get tired of listening to myself. I consume so much of Joe Rogan's content that it's not that I even got burnt out. It's not that I even got burnt out. It's you need a break so that you can come back. Sometimes you just have to be in silence. So even my 6 viewers now are going to leave. And that's okay. Whenever my podcast, like I said, I'm gonna get my number. I'm gonna figure it out and see, okay, how many, which I would say, I'm gonna have to go on, I'm gonna look at my new numbers, right? So when I drop a new episode, because my new episodes are not getting 100 downloads. So I don't have like 100 podcast listeners. So I'm gonna look at, all right, when I drop this episode, look at the first 24 hours. All right, how many downloads do I get? And then the next because you would figure everyone doesn't have the same day. I don't listen to the King and the Sting and Theo Vaughn. Like, I don't listen to them the day that they drop. I listen to them when it's convenient for me. So I'm gonna just look at episodes that's been up for a month and see if is there whatever that number is. There's eventually is going to regulate out, whether it's 6 or 30 or 4 or whatever that number is going to be. And that'll give me I would say give it a week, because all of the content that I listen to, within a week of it dropping, that's when I listen to it. So like, that's how I'm going to find that number, right? How many podcast downloads from actual listeners do I have, right? Get that number together so then I can say, all right. Because right now, my YouTube, I have 6. And look, we're going to get it to 10. I mean, there's really nothing. Only thing we can do is just try to cater to the 6 that we have. Give them content that they like. And when we get our number to the podcast, and when I say get them the content that they like, meaning just be yourself. I mean, that's really all that I'm doing. I'm not saying, let me talk about this because I know that they know. If that's not really what I'm into, then that's not what I'm going to talk about. So just keep being yourself. Keep consistently being yourself. On YouTube, I'm trying to find, and hopefully the point of this all is to migrate and to bring that new energy over into the podcast. So we definitely have a task ahead of us. We've given them 49 more minutes. So this is like an hour and 49 minutes. Like I said, I mean, your boy was dropping some jewels in the blackout phase. Man, I'm telling you, I was dropping some heavy gems. Heavy. And I'm going to revisit. Because I still believe that this is the true age of enlightenment. And I believe that, look, that's what this is. That's what this episode is going to be called. Whatever number it is, I'm not really sure if it's 1, 14, 15, 16. I know it's not one. What I know is not. I know it's not one episode 120. That I know. So this episode is the age of enlightenment. Reese's PCC.